everybody, welcome to another edition of NoDQ&A video right here on youtube.com/NoDQCAW, and as always, NoDQ.com. This is the weekend edition, so let's get right down to your questions. Hey Aaron, when Dolph Ziggler cashes in Money in the Bank, do you think he'll win the title, and do you think he'll be the champion heading into WrestleMania 29? Considering the fact that John Cena was officially the first person not to successfully cash in Money in the Bank, I think that leaves the door open now for Dolph Ziggler to continue the regular tradition of successfully cashing in Money in the Bank, and I think he'll win the title. I think that that's the direction that WWE needs to go in with Dolph Ziggler. He's a guy that a lot of people, not just people in WWE, but fans all over the world, they see him as the next big thing, and they've seen him as a potential main eventer for years now. So Dolph Ziggler is a guy you definitely want to invest in and give him the opportunity. As far as him being the champion going into WrestleMania 29, that I'm not so sure about. I mean, I guess it's possible since the world title is, let's face it, at this point it's practically a secondary title. The WWE title is the title, and the world title just happens to be the world title on SmackDown. So I guess it's possible that he could be the world champion going into WrestleMania 29, since whatever the world title match is, it isn't going to be one of the top matches on the show. If anything, it'll probably be the opening match again. Who knows? So with that being said, I could definitely see that as a possibility, and I think he'll cash it in fairly soon, possibly before the year ends, and maybe he'll keep it till WrestleMania. So that's definitely a possibility. Are TNA using talents like Jeff Hardy and RVD to their full potential? Obviously, Hardy's past may prevent them from backing him fully, but both these guys have a huge fan base, and if given the right push, could be good for business for TNA. Your thoughts? I think that both of them have been used to their full potential. I mean, RVD was the world champion for several months, and the thing is, neither guy really makes all that much of a difference to TNA's bottom line. TNA signed a ton of former WWE stars when they did that Monday night Impact against Raw, and it didn't really move the ratings. And in terms of house shows, I mean, I think Jeff Hardy makes a slight difference when he's at a TNA house show, but still, even with Jeff Hardy, even with RVD, they still draw 1,000, 1,500 people to house shows. So they've been used as much as possible, I think, and obviously with Jeff Hardy's past, TNA doesn't want to make him the focal point of the company. There was already that incident at Victory Road, so TNA doesn't want to risk something else happening with him. And as far as RVD goes, I think that it really feels to me like he's there to collect a paycheck. I mean, he goes out there, he does his thing, but he's not taking the risks that he used to take, and he just doesn't seem like his heart is into it anymore, and quite frankly, I don't blame him for that. I think if I was him, I would be there for the paycheck. So it is what it is, but having both of those guys around is good in terms of using them to elevate new talent and have them work with some of the younger guys. I think that's definitely a positive. Hey Aaron, with CM Punk's heel turn, does this guarantee that Randy Orton is returning as a babyface due to the lack of top babyfaces? That's what one would think, especially with SmackDown and the babyfaces there not being a whole lot. I mean, you have Sheamus, obviously. I mean, you could turn Randy Orton back heel and have him feud with Sheamus again, which actually I wouldn't rule that out. And I know that Randy Orton has made it clear that he prefers being a heel, and I think the babyface act with him has gone a little bit stale. And it's not like John Cena where they're going to refuse to turn him. So I could very well see Randy Orton actually coming back as a heel. I mean, it could really go either way, and I guess they could bring him back initially as a face because, let's face it, when he comes back, he's going to get a huge pop, huge reaction from people. So you might want to bring him back initially as a babyface and then turn him heel. That's what I think is a good possibility. And yeah, it could really go either way. Hi Aaron, what do you think of the WrestleMania match between Edge and Mick Foley? You're talking about the WrestleMania 22 match in Chicago. I thought that it was an excellent match. It really helped Edge. He was already at the next level by this point. He won the title from Cena, cashed in Money in the Bank, and did the live sex celebration with Lita. He was already becoming a big deal. But I think this match helped him even more go over the top in terms of being seen by the audience as a top guy, being able to go out there and just have this crazy match with Mick Foley. Just very memorable match, especially the end with the both of them going through the flaming table, which is something you don't see in WWE. I mean, that was a regular occurrence in ECW, but to have it in WWE was something really special, and at WrestleMania of all places. And it's unlikely we're going to see something like that again anytime in the near future. So that was a classic moment, and that's a perfect example of doing things in moderation. I mean, obviously, if WWE did a flaming table every month on pay-per-view, it would lose its value. But because it was done one time, and you did it at WrestleMania, it made it all that more special. So I would like to see, at a WrestleMania pay-per-view, I'd like to see them do something a little bit crazy, go a little bit out of the box. I mean, it is WrestleMania, and it is the biggest show of the year. So you want to do something that we're not going to get to see the entire rest of the year. So I don't know if we're going to get something like that because of the PG aspect of WWE now, but I definitely would like to see them let the guys be able to go all out at WrestleMania just a little bit more, because in the last several years I feel that WrestleMania, it lacks like some kind of crazy moment that you're like, oh my god, what did I just see? And I think we need more of that at WrestleMania. In light of CM Punk's heel turn, what do you think are some of the greatest heel turns in history of WWE or pro wrestling in general? Please answer in video. Well, I think the all-time greatest heel turn in the history of wrestling, period, would have to be Hulk Hogan's turn in 1996, just because it completely turned the industry upside down. When Hulk Hogan turned and formed the NWO, it was the beginning of a new era in wrestling. I mean, the NWO is what ultimately led to WWE shifting gears and going more adult-oriented and forming the Attitude Era. So without Hogan's turn in the NWO, who knows if we would have even had an Attitude Era. I mean, that was really a crucial moment in wrestling history, and just very shocking because people thought that Hulk Hogan would be a good guy forever, even though he was getting booed. You just didn't expect him to go all out and turn on everybody and dress in black and just completely change his character. But he did it, and he pulled it off, and it's something that you were there for that moment, you'll never forget it. And even if you're a younger fan and you look back on that, I mean, it was just a tremendous moment in wrestling history. And I think my favorite heel turn in WWE would have to be Bret Hart in '97, just because Bret Hart for so many years had been a good guy, and it wasn't like Hogan's turn where it was sudden. It was something that was more gradual, and one segment after another drove him over the edge. Steve Austin kept being a thorn in his side, and eventually he just snapped. And when Bret Hart quit on Raw, and then shoved down Vince McMahon and started using profanity on live television, and then finally at WrestleMania 13 when he beat Austin, and when Austin was down, he kept attacking him. Just a tremendous piece of work right there. Just great art, great storytelling. I love it. Hey Aaron, you may have been asked this question already, but if you haven't, what role do you think Triple H would have had in the Alliance Invasion saga if he didn't get injured? Please answer in video. Well, to be honest with you, I think it's a good thing for the DDPs and the Booker T's of the world that Triple H was not involved in the Invasion storyline, because if Triple H was there, I have a feeling instead of a 6-month invasion, it would have been a 3-month invasion. And Booker T and DDP and Canyon, all those guys, they would have ate the pedigree, and that would have been it for them. Just saying. If Steve Austin was at Raw 1000, how would you have booked him? That's a good question, because I don't think that there's an obvious answer for that one. The thing is, Steve Austin, he's already done everything there is to do in a non-wrestling capacity. He's come out, he's done promos, he's done stunners, drink beer, He even came back out with the beer truck in 2007 with Santino. So, what is there to do with him? I mean, he's been a guest referee, and you've really done everything you could do with him without having him wrestle. So I'm not sure how would you bring him back. How you would bring him back. I mean, it's hard to say because you don't want to bring him back in a cameo or just have him be there. You want to bring him back and have him play a major role. So how do you do that if he's not wrestling? How do you do that without doing something you've done a million times already? But I do agree with a lot of people. I think that he should have been there, but obviously because of his injury, it was impossible for him to be there. Although I would have liked to have seen maybe like a 3-4 minute. Maybe they could have done a pre-taped promo with him. At least air that on Raw and have him talk about his favorite Raw moments. Maybe just let that go 3 or 4 minutes. I think that would have been something cool to see and have him at least be part of the show in some capacity. That would have been nice, but it is what it is. And if he comes back at some point, I mean, it'll mean more because there's not a ton of other things going on. So when he does come back and there's not a whole lot going on, it'll make more of an impact, I think. And perhaps he'll come back. I mean, in January it'll be 20 years since Raw started, so I'm sure they're going to do a big show for that, and that might be a good point to bring him back in some capacity, so we'll see. Alright, that'll wrap it up for this edition of No DQ&A Video. Thanks as always for watching. Make sure you subscribe. YouTube.com/NoDQCW. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the video. And keep spreading the word. Facebook, Twitter, Tout, MySpace if you're even still on there. And just keep spreading the word. I appreciate all the support from you guys. And stay tuned for more. I'll see you next week for No DQ&A Video.